Today we are going to be smoking up some tri-tip to make some sliders. Now, these are going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to use my normal method for smoking tri-tip, the 110 sear method, which just delivers the exact results I want every single time. I'm not using that because we're really not going to be eating this like slices of tri-tip. It's going to go in a slider. And so really what I'm going to do is get that smoke flavor on the outside, and I'm not going to sear it. I'm going to take it right to 130, and then I'm going to wrap it tight in foil and let it rest for half an hour. But we've got a few things we need to do first. One is getting a chimichurri mayo ready for this. That's going to go on these sliders, and it's going to be delicious. So we're starting with a 1.5 cups of mayonnaise here. To this, I'm going to add a teaspoon of kosher salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and if you don't want any heat, you could leave this out, but it really doesn't bring like a lot of heat that's just going to punch you in the face. It's just some nice background notes of heat. We're going to add a tablespoon of minced garlic, a teaspoon of red wine vinegar. This is where we're starting to bring in some of the liquid components that would normally go into a chimichurri, but at a much lower level. We're also going to add about a teaspoon of olive oil. Next up, about a 1/2 cup of some roughly diced red onion. I've got a cup of chopped cilantro and a cup of chopped parsley. And we're just going to get in here and mix this up. As usual, I've used a bowl that's much too small for this purpose, but we'll make it work. I want to get this done ahead of time so these flavors can sort of meld together in the mayo. Let's get a little taste here. Yeah, that is good. All right, this is going to go in the refrigerator, and we're going to move on to getting our rub ready for our tri-tip. Our rub today is very simple. We're starting with 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of a coarsely ground black pepper, and 1 tablespoon of granulated garlic. This is a really easy way to mix rubs. Just put it in some sort of small container, put a lid on it, and shake. There we go. Let's get our tri-tip out here. So here I have a USDA choice tri-tip that I just asked the butcher to really remove a lot of the fat from, because since this is going to be going in sliders, I don't want that big fat layer on here. You might enjoy that in a steak or, cutting this up for slices. But for these sliders, I wanted to remove most of the fat. So I'm just going to go here and sprinkle on my rub. Got some good surface moisture, so don't really need a binder. The most pronounced flavor and scent in this is obviously the smoked paprika, and I just love smoked paprika with beef, and especially in tri-tip when you're using it in a rub. All right, that's looking good. Let's head out to the grill. All right, the Weber kettle is up to temp. My target today is between 250 and 275. Anything in that range is good. I'm using the Mallory cast iron grate and the Mallory firewall. And after we get our tri-tip on, we're going to add a piece of white oak for a little bit of smoke. So let's get our tri-tip on. Get our piece of white oak on here. Now the ultimate internal temperature, which I think I mentioned inside, is going to be 130 degrees internal. When we hit that, this is coming off. It's going to get wrapped tightly in foil and rest for 30 minutes before we slice into it to make our sliders. So let's get this closed up, get smoking, and we're going to come back probably in about 30 minutes and check it, see if we need to spritz. It's kind of a humid day today, so I'm not really sure if we're going to need to. I don't have any other water in the chamber here, so we'll see how we're doing, but we'll check it in 30 minutes. All right, we're at the 30-minute mark. Our internal temp's about 101, 102 degrees, which is pretty normal for a tri-tip moving this quickly. Usually for me, this size tri-tip, 45 minutes to an hour and it's done. But let's check it, see if we need to spritz. I am liking that color. But looking at that, I can see it is a little dry, so I do want to give it a little bit of a spritz here. All right, we're going to get the lid back on and let this continue to 130 internal. Bring you back then. We're going to pull it, wrap it, and then we'll head inside. All right, we are coming up on 130 degrees. The temp of the kettle's been holding really steady in that 250 to 275 range. So we're going to go ahead and get our tri-tip off now. Double wrap it in foil, like I said. Get it inside, let it rest for 30 minutes. That's going to let all those juices sort of settle in the meat. And it's going to bring it the last few degrees to how I like it. Usually it's going to end up somewhere between 133, 135. That's where I like it. So let's go ahead and get our tri-tip off. There it is. Temp probe out. All right, we're going to get this inside, let it rest for 30 minutes, like I said. Then we're going to slice up some and build some delicious sliders. All right, here it is. Our tri-tip has been resting for 30 minutes. It is looking fantastic. This is the color I wanted. And it's why I didn't actually want to do my 110 sear method and grill it and then finish it indirect. I just wanted this completely indirect color today, and it's looking terrific. So let's slice in, and then we're going to cut up some pieces for our sliders. Now, the slider buns, you know, they're small. They're slider buns. These are King's Hawaiian pretzel slider buns, and I just sort of toasted them a little bit, so we got a little bit of color there. So we don't need big pieces. And first, I'm just going to slice down the center, and if you didn't know, the tri-tip grain sort of twists. Right here, you can see it running this way, but as you get over here, it goes this way. So you really have to sort of adjust the way you're cutting to cut across the grain. So we're just going to start right here first in the center. There we go. That's what I wanted. That nice medium rare. Sometimes in video you really can't see it because the way the light's working. You know, I'm not a cinematographer. I don't know exactly how to set things, but it is a nice pink medium rare there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this end piece, the narrow piece, and I'm going to cut from this because the grain is running this way so I can get across the grain. We'll set that one aside. And I'm using my synthetic cutting board here to make cleanup a little easier. Now, if you like your tri-tip or roast or whatever you're using cooked more, cook it more. That's all you got to do. This is how I like mine. Got a juice cilantro going here. The next thing, I want to cut these pieces in half here because our sliders are, you know, pretty small. Definite juice cilantro going on. It's about that size. Let's build these sliders. The first thing I want to do is get some of our tri-tip on here. I think I'm going to double stack each slider, 2 pieces. Then I want some of our Chimichurri Mayo on here. Give it a good amount here. This is good stuff. And I want to top each of these with a tomato slice. And crown them. There we have it. Our smoked tri-tip sliders with chimichurri mayo. These look fantastic. And even though I've only had to wait about an hour and a half, I'm hungry, so let's dive in. All right, well, I'm going to pick one of these here to taste. I'll take this guy in the center. Cheers. For a small bite, meal, snack, appetizer, snacketizer, whatever you want to call it, that is packed with flavor. For me, tri-tip is always the star of the show when you make that. Close second here, that chimichurri mayo. I'm loving it.